Turn this on. All right. Let's see if this is working. There we go. How's it going? So I'm going to do some camera news, whatever news related to photography, videography, camera gear, mostly. And then I'm also going to take a look at this tripod that LLANO sent me. I know I've been showing a lot of their stuff, but they're easy to deal with, and they agree to my terms, which not a lot of companies agree to my terms, which basically says they have no say in the content of my videos, and they're not allowed to preview anything. So things to look at, you know, that I don't have to pay for. I think it's a reasonable mix of compromise. Anyways, I'll be looking at this a little bit later, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna take a browse of any camera news and stuff that's happening right now. Yeah, we've got some chat windows here on the side. We've got camera news websites and stuff. So if you have any suggestions of places to look or anything, not rumors, I don't want to deal with rumor sites, and I don't really care about things that are not available at the moment. But yeah, let me just go in here. There we go. Using a wireless microphone because I'm going to be moving around a little bit eventually. Yeah, that's muted. Looks good. All right. So B&H is a pretty good option to look at new things that are, you know, current. But also I could look at some specific things, like Panasonic has a few interesting news articles. I saw that Fujifilm also has updated software or something. I did browse some of the larger websites like Petapixel, but there really isn't a ton going on, it looks like. But we can take a look at that quickly as well. I also have a few links that I can browse. Let's see if Tamron has anything. Yeah, March. Now they got a fair amount of stuff going. Is there some type of seminars or something? Yeah, Photorama in New Jersey. I don't know if there's any conventions related to this stuff going on in my area. I did go to one a long time ago at this point with a friend. Trying to think of what it was called. It was in downtown Chicago. I do have videos, of course. Let's see. Going to... Okay. Maybe convention. Problem is, I've got a lot of anime convention stuff in my video list. Event. No, I'm not seeing it. Anyways, it was a photography event that I do have a video on, if I can find it. I can't even remember what year it would have been. So I have thousands, no, not thousands, but well over 1,000 videos on the channel at this point. Yeah, can't remember what it was called. Anyways, let's take a look. What other things we've got here? Fujifilm News, Sigma. So March 9th, Sigma BF camera wins the IF Design Award 2026. And I don't know how I feel about the BF. I've never tried one. I really don't have access to much in the way of cameras these days. The camera shop I used to go to closed. There is probably stuff within 100 miles from here or something, but I don't have any type of relationship with them to go there and try out gear and stuff. So yeah, anyways, I don't know how I feel about this Sigma BF. It's interesting. It's cool that they basically, I don't know if it's a repackaged job of the Panasonic one. Was it the S9 or something? But apparently the autofocus is really good in this. From, I think Petapixel mentioned that. So it must be different in some ways. But I think the sensor is the same, and no shutter, no mechanical shutter on it. Sorry. Already talking too much. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. Is a display piece. Awesome, right? But the grip is just, I mean, there is no grip. There's a texture. So, I mean, if you use you can't even use a regular strap, because I think they only have one hole for a strap. So you're going to be supporting it with your hand. And it just doesn't seem reasonable to me from, using it long term. It does have this thing on the back, so you'll get a little bit of support with your thumb or whatever. Yeah, probably be your thumb. It is cool. I do like it. It's just, it's not a realistic camera to consider like as your everyday, if you're going to be using it a lot. I mean, if you use it for like maybe 2 hours or something, it might be okay. Who knows? But I don't really, like I said, I don't really have access to much in the way of cameras, especially something like that, which is pretty rare, most likely. Let's see what else they have. So this is in February. Development of a 85 1.2 DG art lens. Is this a replacement, or is it a new, like an update, or a new, like completely new design? I don't really track or look at much in the way of camera stuff these days, so I don't know if there has been one of these or not. It's a 1.2, so I would say probably not, but you never know. For a mirrorless lens. CP Plus 2026. Okay, that was February to March. So L mount, probably Sony, I would assume. It says dual HLA high response linear actuator for the autofocus. Yeah, it's probably the first in the line, because if it were an upgrade or replacement, you'd have the DG2, most likely. Yeah, that's cool. I wouldn't mind trying it, but I've considered recently selling my Nikon gear. Not that I have much anyways, and then trying to get a Ricoh. But the Ricoh camera is pretty expensive now, comparatively to the previous model. We can take a look at that as well. I probably should focus on one thing though. GR4. Yeah, so it's $1,500 for the regular one, if you can even buy it. And then they have the monochrome one now. So that is a pretty large price jump 5, 6, 700 USD. Man, it's cool. I got kind of excited about that type of monochrome camera when Leica released their original M or whatever it's called, the M monochrome. But, you know, obviously I didn't buy that. So this would be an interesting option, even though it's pretty expensive for what it is. But I mean, also they have the Pentax SLR monochrome, which would be more practical. But to me, size has been a really big consideration because I just don't want to deal with much. I don't know, at the moment, I'm very minimal photography at the moment. Obviously, I do a lot with the video stuff and taking photos and related to that, but I haven't been to a convention in a while, type of thing. And I don't specifically do model photo shoots or anything like that. So something like this would make a lot of sense for me. But I think I would prefer the 40mm equivalent, which doesn't exist at the moment. I think it would be a little bit more practical and versatile as a longer focal length than the 28 equivalent. Yeah. Also, I found it so odd that it includes internal memory, but you can't save a picture to that plus the micro SD card at the same time unless they changed it. That was such an odd exclusion. But maybe it's some technical reason. It's strange though. But anyways, I mean, after like a session of taking photos, maybe you could just manually push the photos to the second format to have a backup. I guess that's kind of reasonable. And then like if you were taking photos, for example, of a cosplay or something, take a few photos, stop, push the photos to the second format. But I mean, at that point, you could just swap to a different memory card, I guess. Yeah, it depends on how fast it would transfer. That type of thing. It's just very odd to me that they wouldn't offer dual saving to the two different formats at the same time. Anyways, we can go back to Sigma. Sigma camera begins rice cultivation in the Aizu region. Okay. Sigma Aizu Farm Corporation. Very much a family business. The current CEO is son of the previous one. I would assume it's a private company. I mean, it's pretty cool. Cultivating rice. Mount Bandai. Is that named? Is Bandai the company named after the mountain? I wonder. So they, Gundam and a bunch of anime, and they do a bunch of model kits and stuff. So Gundam model kits and things like that. The Bandai company. Dragon Ball. All that stuff. I mean, that's pretty cool. I guess if you like farming. Sigma Aizu Farm. Nice photo. Leave it to the photography company to take a nice landscape photo when it's misty and probably early morning, I would assume. That's cool. I feel like one risk for Sigma though is that they're probably got all of their ability to function is all in one area, which is for a large company it feels kind of risky to only exist in one spot, you know, for those natural disaster reasons, especially in Japan. Although I don't know if the Aizu region is prone to earthquakes and stuff, or tsunamis or something like that. Not even sure where that is in Japan. Anyways, that's pretty cool. Let's see if they have anything else before I move on to a different company. So that was also, yeah, they've got quite a bit here. Camera lens manufacturer. Okay, race cultivation. Launches a new large aperture wide angle lens APS-C format. 50mm f1.4 DC contemporary. 15. So is it kind of a replacement for the 14? What? I had for Canon EFM, I think it was a 14 1.4. I can't even remember at this point. But it was much bigger than this, it looks like. So they potentially slimmed it down quite a bit. Although the price looks the same. So I would assume this is an improvement in size and hopefully optical quality. Is that an integrated hood? I hope not. Yeah, it looks a lot smaller. Minimal focus breathing. It's very nice to see a company mention that. That's cool. Ideal for high quality video. Yeah, that's nice. Aperture ring control. Aperture ring or control ring. Dust, if I can speak English, dust and splash resistant. I think the original was as well, but on EFM specifically, on the back, it didn't have the weather gasket. They don't even mention the... Oh no, it was a 16mm. I think it was 16. 16mm 4, yeah. Let's do a quick search. Yeah, I think it was a 16. Yeah. All right. So this is the one that I had for EFM. That's the wrong picture. It didn't have this in the back. Yeah, that was dust and splash resistant. So it's pretty much a nice little improvement, but they increased the price. Although this might not have been the original price compared to this thing. And 15 versus 16, I'd take 15. Sorry. I think I need to blow my nose. But I have a microphone on. Let me mute it. Cool. I don't think that worked, but maybe it's just really dry in here. Anyways, check. Is this working? Stream's bitrate 0 is lower than recommended bitrate. What is it talking about? What does that even mean? What? Oh, I'm just looking at what YouTube's saying on the OBS. It says the audio stream's bitrate is 0. Is my microphone working? Who knows? I did mute it, but I don't see why that would have made any difference. It says excellent quality. Maybe I could listen to it and just make sure that it's working, unless someone wants to tell me if it's working. Anyone? No idea? Okay. Let's see. Let's go to the app. Oops. All right. Oh, advertisements. Let's see if it's working. Test 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it works. Cool. That's weird. I'm guessing that when I muted it, it totally stopped sending audio, which makes no sense. Or maybe just YouTube is acting weird. Anyways, yeah, this lens looks interesting, and I definitely like the fact that they mentioned it has low focus breathing. Yeah, minimal, whatever that means. But it's nice that they at least tell you that, right? I do personally, I use a lot of APS-C stuff, or at least in the past, for video. It's cheaper for the most part. So for example, I have a setup, which I'll be going over to in a little bit, this setup, and that's using the ZV-E10 original. Not the overhead thing, but the main camera. So that's a ZV-10, and it's being routed to a Ninja 5 recorder. And it's just sitting there, and it's just running, and it's not overheating, and it works. And it's a pretty cheap camera for what it is. So we'll be going to that pretty soon here. So I'm going to unbox this little tripod that LLANO sent. Yeah. So it's just a little tripod thing. Anyways. Okay, it looks like a nice lens. Let's see what else we've got. Make sure I'm on the right page. Yeah. Or screen. 35mm f1.4 DG2 art. So basically a revision of an existing lens. This is just out of my ballpark. I don't have access to this, so I can't really comment on the original or anything like that. It's nice that they updated it. It's probably going to be much better, but of course, usually when that happens, prices go up. So Sony E-mount and L-mount. Yeah, that's kind of the standard. If I mentioned I had thought about selling my Nikon equipment, or Nikon equipment. One, I won't have to, every time I say the company name, I say it 3 times. But 2, I thought about going to Ricoh, but more Sony stuff would work too. Because I'd have the ZV-10, this thing here. This is the A6000. with the Sigma 18 to 50 2.8. Yeah, 18 to 50 2.8. And it goes a little bit wider. So I do have the corrections on, and it works in video for the straightening of lines and stuff. What is that called? I don't remember which correction it is, but this lens does have a fair amount of distortion on the wide end. But yeah, that's A6000. For the price, it's a very nice camera to do stuff, and I've had that run for hours and hours as a webcam, and it just works for the most part. I don't like the little HDMI port, and it's kind of not perfect anymore, but it still works for the port. So Sigma, maybe L-mount would be a nice one to go to, but there really isn't anything. I do like the S5 too, but that's a big camera, and there's really no point for me to go toward a big camera. And, you know, expense. So we've got cinema lenses. Cinema with autofocus. 28 to 105 T3. So they measure things differently with T-stops instead of the aperture calculation. For video. That looks nice. And it's expensive, no surprise. Video stuff is always, not always, but very often much more expensive. 3,399 USD for a 28 to 105, probably like a 2.8 that they adjusted. Although it's very possible they totally changed the whole optical formula. If it were somehow based on a regular lens, which yeah, it's probably from the ground up cinema. Does it say how many elements it has? 12 aperture blades, that's a lot. Generally, they'd start at like 9, right? So an extra 3. I'm not seeing the formula. Anyways, that is very much not in my wheelhouse. Firmware update for the BF was back in February as well. Adapts reducing environmental impact. That's nice. Power of f1.2 photo contest. Is this like the invite to submit photos with the 51.2, the 35, or one of the other 35. So this is a very exclusive contest. If you, yeah. I mean, I guess you could rent the lens maybe, and then try if you can find one for rental. That's nice. Let's see, PBS Viewfinder Season 4. I don't know what that is. PBS Viewfinders, some type of TV show. Okay, it's landscape photography. I'll have to look that up at some point. I do like everything, or especially as a kid, all of the PBS shows. So Mr. Rogers, Joy of Painting with Bob Ross, some of the food shows and stuff I would watch, things like that. That's nice. Man, they have a fair amount of things going on. That's cool. Anyways, we can move on from Sigma. Tamron doesn't really... These appear to be events that Tamron is hosting, probably at camera shops. Let's see. Yeah, Midwest Photo. I've heard of them, and I think I might have bought something from them 10 or 20 or whoever knows how many years ago. It's in Columbus. No, wait. Travel to the library. Well, anyways, that's Tamron. Next. Let's see. PGA Tour something. Okay. Lumix Flow and Lab apps. So if you use the Lumix stuff, looks like there was an update in February. I have a new microphone. Okay, that's different looking. S1 III, S1R2, S5 II, S5 IIX. And they're going to add compatibility through firmware for the GH7 and G9 II. That is very odd top to it. There's an internal shock mount. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Audio Technics. I don't know what that is. This is just general Panasonic. So it's got a mix. Okay, that's Panasonic. And then Fujifilm updated some type of RAW converter or something. If you use Fujifilm. Yeah. That's all I saw for them. And then Canon, I didn't really see anything. Some type of printer or something. They still have the #1 share of cameras. That was in February. They do still sell, at least in the United States, stores like Target. I don't know about Walmart, but Best Buy, Target, Canon's pretty big in those still. Even more so than the other brands by quite a bit. Especially Target. Target's pretty much just all Canon stuff. There's some GoPro I've seen there. And then some like throwaway cheapo cameras. And then Fujifilm. has the in-stock stuff there. Best Buy has more, but Canon's pretty big at Best Buy. I mean, who knows how many cameras Best Buy actually sells, but it must be something. So they've managed to continue being the largest seller, even with their very closed RF mount. But I guess in reality, how many people even buy additional lenses for the cameras? Who knows? I would like to see like specific percentages and such, but I don't know if that data exists publicly. So that's Canon. And then Petapixel, of course, very nice YouTube channel. I watch them a fair amount. I really don't watch much in the way of photography stuff and camera stuff, but Petapixel is one that I do watch relatively often. I like their podcasts. Check out their podcasts. Let me show their YouTube channel. It's probably, see if they, yeah, they've got this. So they've got, obviously they're from the camera store, which still exists, and they still make videos, but I haven't watched their stuff. And his wife, I think, runs it, and someone else. Black and white film on Temu. That sounds pretty interesting. So here's one of their podcasts, Samsung phones. Sigma, so they got access to the 35 1.4 GG2. And then it did Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra review. Another podcast. I did watch this one. That was pretty interesting. It's kind of like a sponsored video, but it's cool seeing China from, you know, from their perspective. Okay, this is the 15 1.4 that we saw in the news article. Yeah. So I would assume everyone that watches me probably looks at their stuff. But if you don't, then check them out. So if you do at Petapixel in the URL, PETA, pixel. Yeah. So this is their website. And then I have a bunch of news and stuff. They tend to cover, I don't really look at it much, but things like the Adobe, to pay 150 million sentiments of subscribers. 150 million seems low to me. I'd like to see Adobe implode, but that's just me. Unless they want to sponsor me. I'll change my mind if that's not going to happen, but I would be open to talking to them. But I do not use their stuff, and I haven't for a long time. Let's see. National Geographic, that still exists. Photo Engineer. Custom Casio. That sounds interesting. It was like a Nikon Casio or something. Oh, it's just similar imitation watch. Okay, it's some specialty. Let me just look at this off screen. I don't want to be doxxed. Sometimes they integrate like Google Pay and stuff into their websites. Oh, it's expensive. I don't think I would pay 170 euros for a Casio digital. I can't imagine. You can. I bought one of these as a gift, probably 3 years ago or something, and it was, I think, under $15 US, and it looks very similar to this. So I can't imagine spending 170 euros for that. I don't know, maybe there's something special about it besides the look. Who knows? But that's a lot for a digital Casio. Yeah. AI models. I do use AI things, but it's more so adjusting my own work in different forms. So, for example, I have a website, and I've had the website probably longer than the YouTube channel. So, what I've been doing lately is I have various articles related to the videos that I make. So, for example, the Kodak Charmer video, which did decently well for me. You know, that's relative, but so I basically use the AI stuff to take the transcript captions of the video and also the video itself. And then I use the Gemini Pro AI Studio thing to take that information and form an article out of it. And then I do a bunch of editing. And I have a few scripts and things that I've made with my video editing software in relation to what I ask the AI to do, is to try to find frames in the video that thinks it'll work for examples and stuff. So that's basically what a fair portion of this is. So these are frames that the AI selected based on context and everything. And they're not super amazing or anything, but it saves me some time. And it makes these articles viable to make in general, because there were years, there were periods of time where I just couldn't justify spending any time on the website. So this is kind of a compromise for me, is to use those tools with my own work to put something out there in written form, you know, as decent as possible. And then, like I said, I do edit these, and I tried to make them sound like me, because obviously the AI, even though it's basing all of it on my actual video, it doesn't always sound like me. So I do spend some time, and then I ask it to do this. So it tries to create term definitions, and it sometimes puts those in there as like an added bonus. And I do try to verify all of that for myself as well. So yeah, that's basically my compromise of trying to make the website somewhat relevant and have recent stuff in it. Yeah, the backpack. This is a very nice backpack. I still have it, but the video hasn't done very well on YouTube. So yeah, pretty much. Sometimes I do pull additional frames that I want to use as examples, or like take pictures or something. But that does add to the time and effort. So yeah, this one did very well as a video. So I think in this specific article, I did pull additional frames. Oh, and another thing that I have it do is I have it add the little watermark with the script. So it takes a time code for the picture, and then I take a list of those time codes and I put it into a script in my video editor, and then the script itself pulls the frame of image, and it also takes the watermark and it puts it on there, and then it makes a JPEG that I use for the website. So you can imagine how much time that saves. So I kind of rather would not make my own pictures if I don't have to, but I think I did for these ones, because this is a pretty big article. Polaroid did send me this at no cost, but they were like, here, if you want to do something with it, awesome, but they didn't even attempt to get me to do anything, which was very refreshing. And do I have the camera back here? Oh, over here. Yeah, it's that one. I'm still waiting on some things going on with this camera. It's that Maxmango. I did a stream on this. It's public. You can watch it if you want. But the person that I'm talking to at this company, they're going back and forth with their technical people and stuff to do some revisions and adjustments and things to the camera just to improve it. So they've been very proactive in trying to make a really nice camera for people. So that was a nice, pleasant, over here, nice, pleasant interaction so far. Anyways, yeah, that's the website. 1,140 Canon 400 2.8 lenses. What? It's a lot of very expensive lenses. Oh man. Mothra. Massive optical telescope. Hyper spectral robotic array. Okay, this is very cool. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh. Team Mothra. I'll have to look into that one. That looks very interesting. I like space stuff. I was on the Petapixel website. Anyways, let's take a look at the new lenses and cameras that exist. So I use B&H because they have a very nice sort by newest. So these are mirrorless lenses. And we've got a manual tilt shift lens from Venus Optics. I haven't really done much. There was a company that sent me a tilt lens, but it wasn't a shift lens. It's just tilt. It was kind of interesting, but not super practical. I sold that one eventually to when I sold a bunch of Nikon equipment. So I mean, that's cool. There's a bunch of them. Brighton Star 51.8 Sony E-mount. Okay, I'm gonna just go autofocus because this is probably a bunch of manual focus stuff. Okay, this is a 85 1.2 Sony E-mount. 7 Artisans 40 2.5 E-mount. This is probably APS-C. Maybe not. Well, it's Sony E, so it's probably APS-C. Yeah. Wait. No, it's USB. I don't know. It looks very small. Yeah, I would assume it's APS-C because it doesn't say FE. Oh, wait. Never mind. If I could read. Full frame. Oh. That is very interesting looking. It's very compact looking. This would be nice on one of the smaller full frame Sony cameras. $42.5. Yeah. I wouldn't mind trying that. Although the only Sony full frame I have at the moment is my this camera that's doing this view, and it's the A7S original. So I have it in manual focus, but that is a thing. It's just running. It's been running this whole time, sitting there. Okay, we got the Sigma 15 1.4. That's APS-C. There's a bunch of them. So there's Sony E-mount, there's Fujifilm X, Canon RF. $7,200 2.8 VRS2 for $3,200. That's how much these things cost now. Man, that's a lot of money. I mean, I'm sure this is great. 6 stops of VR, meso, amorphous, and ARNEO coding, control ring, click declick switch, archetype tripod foot, 11 aperture blades. Yeah, I'm sure this is great. Tamron 35 to 100, 2.8 for Z mount. I actually get something on there. That's nice. This is APS-C. It's probably full frame. Yeah, full frame. I mean, considering prices of things these days, is probably a decent option. Sony E-mount version. So the E-mount version is cheaper than the Z-mount version. That's like, how much are they charging for them to? So there must be a licensing cost difference or something, or some technology reason for an extra $30. Or just like scale. It's possible that they're going to make so many more of these that they can justify a lower price than the Z version. Who knows? Filtrox, Sony E-mount, APS-C lens, 42.5. That one's full frame. So the 7 Artisan one looked smaller than this. 22.8 full frame. 51.4. They're still selling Z-mount lenses on or Viltrox Nikon Z. So I guess the legal battle hasn't really gone anywhere yet for them to still sell that. There's 7 Artisan 51.8 APS-C. Yeah, there's a fair amount of options here. A lot of third-party stuff on Sony. There is some Fujifilm X, another Viltrox, L-mount. So Viltrox did join the L-mount alliance. So if you want the best Viltrox performance, it's probably going to be on L-mount, maybe E-mount. I'm not sure what if they have any like true agreement with Sony, who knows. But for L-mount, they're actually part of it. Fourteen 1.4, very bulbous. Oh wow, what the heck is this? 35 1.8 orange. Is that orange or yellow? I kind of want that. It's for Sony. I do have two APS-C Sony cameras. 35. Yeah, I kind of want that. TT Artisan, if you're watching, send me one. Brighton Star. This company has sent me one or two things in the past, and they've gotten into autofocus. That's cool. Full frame. They're still selling on Z. We'll see if Nikon goes after them with lawyers. 24 1.8. Yeah. 85. 35 1.8 Sony. Yeah, a lot of the same focal lengths. 56 1.2. That's a little bit different. APS-C though. There's another company, third party. Yeah, there's a fair amount of stuff here. Just quickly scroll through this. I want to go to that tripod and try it out. This little thing that LLANO sent. As for cameras, we've got a Camp Snap CS Pro. So this is a digital camera as far as I understand it, but the original was very basic. So it looks like they're trying to improve on functionality of it. There's no way to see besides the optical viewfinder, which has parallax, your pictures. It's just kind of a fun way to limit yourself with photography. USB charging, so it's a built-in battery. I don't know what that little thing is. Tripod connection. I think it's pretty neat. I'm just a random person. I wouldn't mind trying one out, but I don't think I would pay $100 for it to try it. "16 megapixel 1/3 inch type sensor, f2.2 lens." Yeah, kind of cool. And then the Panasonic ones. I don't think these are that new. So there really hasn't been much in the way of S5 II. I don't know why this is here. Why is it a new listing? S5 IIX. Did they change the retail price, maybe? GH7. Kodak Printomatic. Olympus Astro version, so astronomy, astrophotography. OM System TG7 Industry digital camera. This is like is that a telescope mount? T-mount? Okay, for microphone, that's an odd combo, but hey, okay. I don't know why someone would choose this. Because wouldn't you have issues with the glass on the front? This is such a random, seemingly random combination of stuff. Why would you not use a regular mirrorless camera? Hmm. I've never seen this. Create with a K. KR48. Another basic point and shoot. It's kind of cool that these are coming back in a way, but it's really junky, cheap ones. Like, big time junky. Fujifilm Instax Mini Evo Cinema Hybrid. V2 something. Oh, this is a digital camera too. It looks kind of cool. Flash pack. There's an actual flash. Hand grip. Lanyard. I mean, aesthetically, it is different than some. Oh, that would be really. The clear one is really cool. They have the clear. Of course, it's out of stock. I would take that. 120. That's cool. I like that. Hmm. Very neat. Another Ricoh S9. Yeah, there really isn't much. A75. All right. Anyways, let's move on. I'm going to be unboxing this, but I need to set up set up another little stream thing because I do multi-streaming. There we go. Is that? This is for Amazon. Go into it's all set up pretty much. Whoops. Except for this. Let's push some frames to the Amazon stream. There we go. Preview. It looks good. Still waiting for this to, yeah, so for the Amazon streams, I have to use a phone. It's kind of awkward. Let's go live. There it is. So I'm going to be taking a look at this. Once it works, just making sure this stream is working before I get started. Looks good. How's it going, everyone? Gonna be taking a look at this little tripod by LLANO. I do get quite a few products sent to me by LLANO. They're a pretty reasonable company to deal with, so that's probably the main reason. But any company that I do deal with, they have to agree to my terms, which means they have no say in the content of anything I produce. They're not allowed to preview anything that I make before I release it. So that's how that works. anyways, there's a little tripod here. It's called the Action Camera Extendable Tripod. Pretty basic, but it should be fun to look at. There is some information on the side here, which we can take a look at in detail at my hands-on area. So I'll be swapping to that. Let's see. There we go. Just gonna get my phone over here. Cool. Do a little zoom in. There we go. So there it is. You got the LLANO branding. So they say it's specifically, or like targeted towards action cameras. It's clearly pretty small. This looks like a tube of toothpaste container. Was that a little too bright? I can't tell. Oh no, I think it's fine. It's just my preview screen is a little cooked. Can I adjust the brightness maybe? There we go. No, it's still very bright. Anyways, let's see what it says here. We got the company name, of course, LLANO, but their actual name, Shenzhen Green Giant Energy Technology Development Company Limited. And they're in wherever that is. Yeah. I think we're good. There's a bit of information down here. Then we've got this. So it says ball head knob adjustment. Open the legs from the bottom. Adjust the height of the feet to the appropriate position. Okay. That's cool. Like I said, this looks like a tube of toothpaste, at least in the United States. Kind of the similar size. This did have plastic over it, but I just wanted to make sure it, because I don't have anything to use this type of mount. I just wanted to verify that it had a normal tripod connection. Yeah. There it is. It's pretty simple. This bag out of the way. There it is. So far, it's got a sizable amount of weight to it. Surprising. Let's see. This feels like some sort of plastic composite or something. There's rubber on the bottom. And then on the top here, we've got, focus that. We've got a standard 1/4-20 tripod connection. And then this thing is meant to kind of friction fit things. So there's a metal thread on the inside of some sort of plastic material, and then a grippy rubber-like material on the top. This is metal. Can I get a closer view here? There we go. That looks pretty nice. I can put this back on. There we go. We got their LLANO branding. Okay. This loosens the head, it looks like. So you can lock it down to a specific position. And then there is one spot where you can go horizontal or vertical, depending on what you're doing. That's cool. And then on the bottom here, we've got some rubber in there I can feel. We can pop it open. So it looks like this is some sort of plastic. I'd probably be careful with that. Yeah, these are plastic as well. See the structure to it. It's going to slide on the main shaft. There's some sort of joint down here, as well as a joint in here on each leg. And then as that shifts, we've got the rubber on each end. Cool. There we go. And then this should extend. Do I need to rotate it? See if it says on here. Adjust the height of the feet to the proper position. Open the legs from the bottom. Okay, I just have to pull on it, I guess. It's got definitely some tightness to it. Well, I need to probably move my camera back. I think that's as far as it goes. Let's see where the balance point is. I can balance things. So I think it's around there. There is a fair amount of weight on the back, clearly, which is good, or bottom. Yeah. Cool. And these things on the bottom here do grip decently well, even though it's a relatively small, there's a triangle on each one of rubber-like material. I'm going to move my camera back. Try to do it in a way that's not super jarring for everyone. Then we'll go up. Uppies. Uppies. All right. There it is, fully extended, it looks like. So you can go to the side or up. I do have a GoPro here. There's a GoPro 9 with the standard tripod connection on the bottom. Obviously, the GoPro mount system has the fins, but there's nothing for the fins to work with here that comes with it. Okay, it's still... I think I have to go farther back. Make sure it's focused. The GoPro's a pretty weighty little camera. Okay, it's still not tall enough. There we go. How's that? I think that's good. Yeah, it seems like it's relatively in line. So GoPro Hero 9 black with the Max lens mod on it. So obviously this adds a lot of weight to the top. And I think these, oh, you can actually, so there is, this is kind of, it's a smart way to go about the grippiness. So depending on how you have these adjusted, there's material on the inside and on the outside here. So as you, depending on how much of that you want. So if you have like a really small surface or something, I could see that being helpful, and it's still going to grip on the edge here as well as down here. That's pretty smart of them. Yeah. So I could probably go like that. I wouldn't do this, but if you push it all the way down, that's not bad. And I could envision situations where I needed a very small space. Yeah. And obviously if you have more space, then you can do that. It's a fair amount of pushing force. At least at the base amount, I think this is relatively safe. And then you do have more adjustment. Okay, maybe that's a little much. But I mean, if you're using the axis of the leg as the thing to take that weight going to the side, it's probably a little safer, but obviously if it gets pushed in a direction where there's no support, that's not going to work too well. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I could see this being relatively useful. I do like that. Let me see if I can get a better view of that going on. Zoom out a little bit maybe. Back. Make sure it's focused. Yeah. So again, with the grippiness, obviously this is ideal, but if you have a small surface, that appears to be pretty cool, pretty decent. Now it is kind of closing out itself as I do that. Yeah. So there is some sort of force going on to naturally close it. Overall, it seems decent. So there's one section. If you want to do a vertical video or something, you can see that working nicely. And then you've obviously got a fair amount of flexibility, kind of a ball head situation. And this is plastic. The shaft is metal, but there's a fair amount of plastic involved. And you can see that being useful. Let's see. Let me pull out an actual camera or two or three. Could try the Polaroid and a little camera. Can also get a large camera just for curiosity. Go. So we've got Polaroid Generation 3. Doesn't have a tripod connection on the bottom. Or this, yeah, this is the Now Plus Generation 3. I could add that to the Amazon thing. Let's see. Add. While I'm doing that, take this GoPro off. These are pretty dense. This has got some weight to it, especially with the max lens mod thing. Now plus, I think it's called the Coral version for the orange. Let's see if I can easily link that. Yeah, I think that's the one. I don't know if I want to... Come on. This is a slow phone. There we go. I can link the other ones after I show this off. Yeah. So if you are unfamiliar with Polaroid or anything, it's an instant camera. I don't have any film, but that opens up. You slide your film into there. I mean, it's technically prints and film at the same time. It comes out as a print that develops instantly, or relatively instantly. So it uses the I-type or the 600 film. They do call it film on here. And it has an internal battery. There's a little optical viewfinder. This specific one is the Now Plus, so it's got a lot of app control, which is nice. I do have a video on that. But yeah, it's a really cool little, not little, but traditional instant camera with new features. Let's see if this works on here. Make sure it's focused. So I just have to loosen that, lock it back down. I feel like this is too much camera for this little tripod, but we'll see. This Polaroid's relatively lightweight. In a pinch, especially if you're at the lowest setting, I think that would be... I don't want to drop this camera because it's probably very mechanical inside. But yeah, that works decently well. I could even try that. Not too bad. Yeah. Make an attempt to go all the way, but it technically works. But I wouldn't do that unless I really, really had to for some reason. And I wouldn't leave it for long. There we go. So I would give that a pass, but be careful. And then this camera here, I can also link this one. I'm still in the process of talking to this company because they're going to do some adjustments to certain things. But it's a waterproof camera. It's called the Maxmango. Let's see. V08 Pro, I think. Let's see if I can add it to the Amazon product listing. Let's see. Probably would have been better if I bought a faster camera. There we go. So there's a blue version and then there's an orange one. I asked them for the orange one. No surprise. There we go. Turn to live stream. Cool. Yeah. So again, this is the Maxmango V08 Pro. This is a screen, so you can do selfie stuff. And then of course it has a screen in the back. It's fully waterproof. Tripod connection. It's got 2 different locks on the battery door. And then you've got your battery in here and a micro SD card. USB-C port inside here. No surprise because it's waterproof. You can see the gasket over here. And then kind of hold this down, and I don't remember what. Okay, I think it's that one first. And then you can see little red indicators showing that it is fully locked. So turn this on, see if the battery is charged. Yeah. So my exposure is a little too bright for that. Yeah. So you've got your camera there, but then you've also got the front camera. I don't want to show that direction with the video, but yeah, there's my light on screen. This is a very cool little additional feature. And then pressing the button again is gonna come back there, and yeah, pretty cool camera. It has limitations, but like I said, I'm talking to the company and they're gonna adjust a few things in firmware potentially, and related to battery and this strap. They said they're going to add a more impressive strap, like a thicker strap, which isn't a big deal in general, but so the current ones would have the regular, this thing. Which, I mean, you could always just buy another strap. So this one's a decent fit. It's obviously bigger than a GoPro, but I think it would work okay on this little tripod. There is more weight on the side, so that's a little dangerous, but at the base amount, it seems okay. And that still works. Just make sure it's focused. Yeah. So obviously that's not ideal. Just a little tap. Yeah. Oh, and you can do this as well. Some sort of vlogging mode. Sure, that's tightened. And then what camera is this? It's called the Maxmango V08 Pro. I do have a live stream VOD on it, but I'm currently talking to the company and they're going to do a few adjustments to it. But it is a kind of a cool little waterproof camera. So this works decently well with it. It feels like a little bit too much weight for this, but it's holding up. And it does have a screen on the front, so that would work decently well. See if I can show that. There we go. Yeah, that is me. Oh, it's in camera mode. Anyways, that works. We've got the selfie mode going. Oh, you're saying, oh no, it's all good. Yeah, it's this little LLANO action camera extendable tripod. They sent it to me at no cost. but they have to agree to my terms, which says they have no say in any content and they're not allowed to preview anything. Same situation with this camera, this one, and actually this one as well, the Polaroid. So it's all good. Yeah, that selfie thing works. Let's try it with the GoPro again. I didn't really consider selfie mode for that. And you just have to loosen this little thing here. This is a plastic. And kind of adjust it however you would potentially want. Yeah, that works much better than the... Whoops, let me make sure it's kind of focused somewhere. Yeah, I think that works. I don't know if I want to show myself in that mode, but I turn on the GoPro. It does have a battery in it. See what? I have the front screen off. Is this the front screen? Let's see. Dashboard. I don't usually use the front screen on the GoPro. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that works. So, pretty decent for any type of vlogging situation. Oh, thanks for the follow, Christian. See you on Amazon. Yeah, that works. Cool. And of course, push down here. And then we've got, I don't know if I would use it at the extended amount, because it's not super stable. Yeah, we can find out. I haven't put it on that camera yet, but it's definitely not designed for that camera. Let's turn that off. So I just put fingers on my max lens mod. Whoops. Yeah. This is a Z5. Let's see. I'm not sure what the weight is on it. I think it'll be fine as like this. Yeah. I mean, it technically works. This is plastic down here, so I wouldn't be too rough with it. So the joint over there, and then this joint here, it's all plastic. Let's see if we can do selfie. Make sure it's focused. Whoops. Trying to lefty loosey, righty tighty. There we go. Whoops. What is loose here? Oh, there we go. Cool. I mean, technically it works, but I don't know if I would use this in a pinch, like if you left it in your car or something or whatever. I guess that could work. It's holding, but this is all plastic, so I wouldn't, long term, I don't know. We could try extending it. I can feel it flex. It is technically working. But not something that I would do. All right. And then the simple setup. open it like that. Cool. So this again is probably something I would not do. And it's kind of holding, at least with this lens. Let me zoom out. Yeah, this technically works again, but not something I would do. That's the maximum. Yeah. I'll give it a kind of works rating. Cool. And then this is this is my original decentish digital camera. It's a 2 megapixel Canon. It's a little rough, but it technically still works. And there's a tripod connection here. I can kind of awkward positioning, but it works, no surprise. Zoom out. There we go. Yeah. So again, the weight on the side here is not the best for something like this, especially if it's like that. Ooh. Definitely extend the legs. Yeah. No surprise, it's decentish. Just any type of camera that's going to put a lot of weight on a side, well, like one side without distributing equally, probably not the best option, but it works. So I think that's pretty much it for this thing. Seems decent. Again, like I said, oh, that clamps pretty quick. Almost pinched myself. Yeah. Seems decentish. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything for like a low-cost little tripod thing, but I could see having this as a backup for any situation. Again, with it's really meant for action cameras and things like this. This has got a lot of weight to it, surprisingly. So it works fine, but it would have been nice, like looking at aspects of this, more weight on the legs or something would have been good. Maybe even extends a little bit wider also would be good. And of course, the materials, who's to say, you know, how long this will hold up with this type of material. It seems rigid and everything, but it's just speculation as to whether it'll last long term or not. But so far it looks good. I like that it is very compact. I could see taking this or multiple, putting one in a bag, leaving it in a bag, something like that. And then obviously you've got the extension for that. Camera like this, not ideal, but it works okay. Definitely more so meant for action cameras, but other things do work. Pretty cool. So anyways, that was the LLANO. Let me see what it was called. Action camera extendable tripod. Here's the box. And then they've got a little bit of information on it. There is a typo on the box. Yeah. Anyways, pretty cool. It doesn't include that thing. I don't know why they showed that on there. But yeah, I think that's it for the stream, unless anyone has any questions. I think it seems to work okay. Works as advertised, I'd say. There's a bit of grip material, or technically it's just like a texture that they formed into the plastic. Actually, it could be separate material. I'm not totally sure. Like some type of piece that they added. No, I think it's just formed into the... Okay, that's fully zoomed. Yeah, I think they just like formed the piece, and then it's got a bit of texture, which is nice for holding. Yeah. Okay, we've got the rubber on the bottom. Cool. There is some metal in here. So the main shaft is metal, but all this is plastic. All right. I think I'm good on that. Again, if anyone has any questions, no? That was the LLANO action camera extendable tripod. I'm going to sign out of Amazon, and then also sign out of the other ones. Oops. Swap to the other camera. Oops, I mean the other camera. Nice having a wireless microphone for this stuff. Let's see. There we go. So there's the tripod with a human holding it. Got a good grip to it. Pretty fun. It's got this little thing on the top with some rubber. And then that tripod head. I do have a few more cameras here. This is an old Pentax Optio. I bought this one in Japan in 2006. I brought a little camera there for a study abroad, and then I dropped it within a few days of being there, so I ended up buying this thing as a replacement. Yeah, that works. We've got there we go. Little selfie action. Yeah. Not too bad. Obviously you can have it however length you want. This seems to be some sort of friction connection, so I don't know in time. Who knows how that'll turn out, but it seems to be okay for the moment. And I do have another camera. Let's see. This one. So I also did a video. Oh, this doesn't have a tripod thing. There is no tripod connection on this one. Okay. Anyways, I think that's... Technically, I have this... There is a... This thing is not an actual camera. At one point, Pentax was making these cameras that had different color options. So you could get a mix of different grip and different case colors and basically design your own thing. And to kind of demonstrate it for camera shops, they would send the camera shops these basically shells of cameras. It has a real mount. It's basically the real shell, but this is glued in, this thing's glued on somehow, and all these buttons and stuff, they don't do anything. You can kind of press that, but it doesn't do anything. This is glued in. Yeah, so it's kind of a cool little thing. I got this from my camera shop when it was closing for probably $1 or $2, maybe $2. This is the only one that they had. I would have bought more of them if they had more of them. But as an actual tripod connection. There it is. Do a selfie with a random Pentax camera shell. Oops. Takes a little bit of adjustment. Cool. Anyways, I'm just going to head out now. I do have quite a bit of stuff I'll be doing similar videos, similar streams for, but on my technology channel rather than the photography one. I could pull it over here real quick to show. Let's see. Lots of things. Turn this off. Whoops. And also, where's my OBS? Yeah, so this is a mix of stuff that, well, mostly stuff that I bought. This is the screen, 15-inch. It's a 15-inch full HD IPS screen with a micro HDMI port. So this could be useful for a lot of stuff. Sorry, it's so bright. And then, in addition to that, LLANO had sent me this HDMI, well, I think it's a phone to HDMI, so you can screen share your phone more easily with this device. I'm not sure on the specific details, but you can either do sharing with this combination of equipment, or you can do phone straight to one of these that connects to HDMI screen or something. So that'll be interesting to try out. Again, they sent me this at no cost, and that's going to be on my technology channel, which is Tech, I suppose. And I purchased these HDMI to HDMI combo. What's that called? You just put two HDMI cables to make them longer in case I need those for something. And then this is a mouse in here, a wireless mouse. The little, very odd looking wireless mouse. And then related to the screen, I picked this up at GameStop. I haven't been into a GameStop in a long time. I could have bought this online for a bit cheaper, but buying it locally was very convenient. It's a composite to HDMI adapter. So you take the composite from, I have it a Super Nintendo. That's my only console that I still have. So I can take the composite from the Super Nintendo to hopefully this screen as an example. And I also have a laptop, but I was just going to do a big screen thing. Anyways, there's that. And then this thing, this is also from LLANO. It's a very heavy glass gaming mousepad. So that's why I bought this wireless mouse, because I tend to use wired mouse, but this one seems like it would make sense to try on a thing like this. I don't know what it looks like inside, but I'll find out when I do a stream on this thing. But it's a glass, and it's a dark, like black, in not even, and black is not a color, right? But it's black. So it's not a clear, like, actual glass. Normal glass. Yeah, so that should be interesting to try out. It's very heavy for the size of box. And those are the main streams that I have planned at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to head out. I would like to edit more videos and things, but there's always stuff happening and things going on, and you know. Anyways, I'm gonna head out. I'll try to do more streams or something on here as soon as I can. Yeah, peace. See ya.